Stop hoarding rice and beans. Every prepper guru, every survivalist with a bunker and a book deal, every self-reliance influencer selling freeze-dried meal kits is feeding you the same expensive fantasy. They show you walls of buckets, mountains of MREs, pantries that look like doomsday Costco's. They call it food security. I call it dead weight that'll get you killed. Because here's what they don't tell you. When supply chains collapse, when grocery stores are bare, when your neighborhood becomes a hunting ground, the guy with 500 pounds of stored food is the guy with a target on his back. He's too stationary, too dependent on a location he can't defend, too committed to calories that'll be stolen or spoiled within the first 30 days of chaos. The food storage industry is selling you comfort. I'm teaching you survival. Most of those buckets, they're fantasy fuel, comfort carbs that stop being accessible the second you have to move, the second someone discovers your stash, the second reality hits and you realize you can't protect 6 months of food from 50 hungry neighbors. But here's what keeps you watching. There are exactly 5 food strategies that actually keep you alive when civilization takes a break. 5 methods that create calories instead of creating vulnerabilities. And I guarantee the last one on this list is something every homesteading channel actively avoids because it makes their sponsors uncomfortable. This isn't about what feels safe. It's about what works when everything else has failed. The calorie acquisition principle. Before we get into specifics, you need to understand the only framework that matters when grocery stores are a memory. I call it the calorie acquisition principle, and it's brutally simple. Stored food is borrowed time. Acquired food is survival. Every calorie you stockpile has an expiration date, not the one printed on the package, the real one. The date when someone stronger takes it. The date when you have to abandon your location. The date when moisture, pests, or time turns it into garbage. Stored calories are a countdown clock. They run out. They always run out. But calories you can acquire, calories you can generate, calories you can harvest from the environment, those are renewable. Those scale. Those don't require you to defend a static position or carry 200 pounds on your back. Think of it like this. In the old world, you had a paycheck. Money came in regularly, and you exchanged it for food. Simple, linear, reliable. Now you don't have a paycheck. You have skills. And those skills better generate calories every single day, or you're just another statistic waiting to happen. Every strategy I'm about to show you is a calorie generator, not a calorie storage system. Because in a collapsed world, storage is vulnerability, and generation is the only security that lasts. So forget the buckets, forget the warehouse fantasy. This is reality. Let's get started. Strategy 1. The invisible harvest, the starvation timeline. Here's what stops most people first. Not violence, not disease, not exposure. Ignorance. Surrounded by thousands of edible calories and starving to death because they don't know what they're looking at. You've got maybe 3 weeks before starvation starts doing permanent damage to your body. Your muscles begin breaking down, your immune system collapses, your brain function degrades. You stop being a thinking survivor and start being a desperate animal making fatal mistakes. And here's the sick joke. You're probably walking past 2,000 calories of food every single day and calling it weeds. The prepper's garden fantasy. You bought heirloom seeds. You've got packets of tomatoes, beans, squash. All the homesteading classics. You've watched the YouTube videos about raised beds and companion planting. You think you'll just grow food when you need it. Wrong. Growing traditional crops takes 60 to 120 days. You'll be dead by day 21. Even if you survive, gardens are visible. They're stationary. They scream, this person has resources worth taking. And when the growing season ends, you're back to zero. You thought you'd hunt and trap. You've got snares, maybe a .22 rifle. You've watched videos about rabbit preparation and squirrel stew. Great. Wonderful. Except you're now competing with every other person who had the same idea in an environment where game populations will be decimated within weeks. Also, hunting requires energy expenditure. You burn 300 calories stalking and processing a squirrel that gives you 200 calories. Congratulations, you're losing. You figured you'd fish. Every survival show makes it look easy. Here's reality. Fish populations in accessible areas will be overfished immediately. Your competition isn't just other desperate people, it's also people with nets, with electricity, with poison. Sport fishing is a hobby. Survival fishing in a collapsed environment is a lottery ticket. The answer: wild edible literacy. The solution isn't sexy, it's knowledge. Specifically, the ability to identify and harvest 15 to 20 wild edible plants in your region, not exotic superfoods. Common, abundant, invasive species that grow without your permission and can't be easily depleted. Here's why this is non-negotiable. Wild edibles are everywhere. Dandelions, plantain, purslane, chickweed, lamb's quarters, wood sorrel. These aren't rare forest treasures. They're in every vacant lot, every roadside, every abandoned yard. They're so abundant that modern society spends billions trying to kill them. They're nutritionally dense. Lamb's quarters has more protein per calorie than spinach. Dandelion greens have more calcium than milk. Purslane has the highest omega-3 content of any land vegetable. These aren't just calories, they're complete nutrition. They're invisible to most people. While everyone's fighting over the last can of beans at the looted grocery store, you're harvesting 500 calories of amaranth seeds from the empty lot behind it. No competition, no visibility, no target on your back. The multiplier effect. But wild edibles are more than just food. Here's what this knowledge does. It's your renewable calorie source. These plants grow in disturbed soil. Every abandoned garden, every collapsed building, every place humans leave behind becomes a food forest for you. It's your barter currency. You can harvest in bulk and trade with people who don't have this knowledge. 5 pounds of dandelion roots is medicine, coffee substitute, and food. That's trade value. It's your insurance policy. Seeds are everywhere. You're never more than 24 hours from your next meal if you know what you're looking at. It's your mobility enabler. Unlike gardens, wild edibles don't require you to stay in one place. You can move, migrate, travel, and eat along the way. One skill, 4 survival functions. That's the principle in action. The protein problem. But plants alone won't save you. Greens and seeds will stop you from starving, but your body needs complete protein to maintain muscle mass, immune function, and mental clarity. You need meat. And waiting for wild game to wander into your snare isn't a strategy, it's a prayer. Which brings us to the food source nobody wants to talk about. Strategy 2. The protein. Nobody respects the muscle crisis. The 30-day countdown. Here's the timeline that kills slow. You can survive on forage plants for weeks, maybe months. But without adequate protein, your body starts cannibalizing itself. First, it's muscle mass. Then it's immune function, then it's cognitive ability. By day 30 on a low-protein diet, you're weak, sick, and making mistakes that get you killed. The rule is simple. Adults need minimum 50 grams of complete protein daily to avoid deficiency. That's about 8 ounces of meat every single day. Now do the math. How are you getting that when game is scarce, livestock is gone, and fishing is unreliable? The mainstream protein lies. You stocked protein powder. Great idea, except it has a shelf life, takes up space, and eventually runs out. You've got maybe 90 days if you're rationing. Then what? You plan to raise chickens or rabbits. That's fine if you have a secure location, constant feed supply, and months to wait for breeding cycles to produce food. In a collapse scenario, those animals will be stolen or eaten by someone else before they produce anything for you. Livestock is a long-term strategy for a world that's already stabilized. You think you'll get protein from beans and lentils. Sure, they have protein, but you need massive quantities to meet your requirements. They require cooking fuel, and they're bulky to store or carry. Plus, everyone's targeting the same resource. It's inefficient at best, impossible at worst. The real solution: insect protein harvesting, crickets, mealworms, grasshoppers, ants, termites, beetle larvae. This is the protein source that exists in every environment, requires no tools to harvest, breeds exponentially fast, and contains more complete protein per gram than beef. Here's why this is non-negotiable. Insects contain 60 and 70% protein by dry weight. A single cup of crickets has 25 grams of complete protein with all essential amino acids. That's nearly half your daily requirement in something you can catch with your hands. They're everywhere and abundant. You don't need pristine wilderness. Urban environments have massive insect populations, grasshoppers in parks, ants in every crack, grubs under every rotting log. The biomass of insects on Earth exceeds all other animals combined. They're the most available protein source on the planet. They require zero infrastructure. No traps, no weapons, no bait. You flip over rocks, strip bark, shake grass into a container. You've got food. Children can do this. Injured people can do this. It's accessible protein regardless of physical capability. They're invisible to competition. While people are fighting over the neighborhood dog, you're collecting 200 grams of protein from the cricket population in an abandoned warehouse. No one's guarding insects. No one's competing for them. It's an untapped food source. The capabilities stack. Here's what insect harvesting gives you. It's your daily protein baseline, consistent, renewable, requiring minimal energy expenditure. You can meet your protein needs every single day, regardless of other conditions. It's your bait system. Can't catch fish? Use grasshoppers. Can't trap mammals? Use grubs. Insects are the universal bait that catches everything else. It's your chicken feed. If you do manage to keep poultry, insects are their natural diet. You're not depleting your human food stores to feed animals. It's your psychological advantage. While others are getting desperate, you're well fed. Mental clarity is a survival tool. Protein maintains it. One food source, 4 functions. But there's a problem nobody mentions: the cooking crisis. You've got protein now. You've got plants. You can feed yourself indefinitely from the environment. But here's what threatens the whole system: fuel. Cooking requires fire. Fire requires wood or fuel. Both are limited, detectable, and time-consuming to gather. You need calories that don't require cooking, or you'll burn more energy-gathering fuel than you gain from the food. Which brings us to the strategy that makes everything else possible. Strategy 3, the efficiency equation, the energy deficit trap. Here's the math that kills you slowly. You forage for 3 hours, burn 600 calories. You gather wood for 1 hour, burn 200 calories. You process and cook food for 1 hour, burn another 150 calories. Total energy expenditure, 950 calories. Your meal, maybe 800 calories if you're lucky. You're losing. You're starving in slow motion while convincing yourself you're surviving. This is the trap nobody talks about. Calorie acquisition cannot cost more energy than it produces. If it does, you're in a death spiral. Every day you get weaker. Every day tasks get harder. Eventually you can't gather food anymore because you don't have the energy to gather food. Game over. The common mistakes. You're cooking everything. That's what food safety taught you. Boil water, cook meat, sanitize vegetables. That's civilized protocol. But civilization's gone and you're burning 300 calories worth of firewood to cook 500 calories of food. That's a 40% efficiency loss you can't afford. You're eating foods that require extensive processing. Rice needs 20 minutes of boiling. Beans need hours of cooking. Hard roots need roasting. You're trading time and fuel for calories at an unsustainable rate. You're not eating immediately. You cook, you store, you reheat. Every additional heat cycle is wasted fuel and wasted energy. The inefficiency is compounding. The solution: the 80% raw protocol. Minimum 80% of your calories should require zero cooking. Not low cooking, zero. This is the efficiency equation that keeps you ahead of the energy deficit curve. Here's why this is non-negotiable. Raw foods deliver 100% calorie efficiency. Every calorie you harvest is a calorie you can use. No fuel cost, no time cost, no energy cost. The math is direct and sustainable. Many wild edibles are perfectly safe raw. Dandelion, chickweed, purslane, plantain, wood sorrel, amaranth leaves. You can eat them immediately. Many insects are safe raw or require only minimal processing. Termites, ants, certain grubs. Cultures worldwide have eaten them raw for millennia. Many seeds and nuts require zero prep. Acorns need processing for tannins, but pine nuts, sunflower seeds, amaranth seeds can be eaten raw or lightly toasted in seconds. Reserve cooking for specific needs only. Meat that absolutely requires it. Water purification, occasional warm meals for morale. But it's the exception, not the rule. The multiplier capabilities. Here's what the 80% raw protocol does. It's your fuel conservation system. You extend your fire-making resources by 80%. That ferro rod lasts 5 times longer. That firewood stash becomes a months-long supply instead of a weeks-long supply. It's your time multiplier. You're not spending 3 hours a day on fire management. You're mobile, fast, efficient. Time is a resource. This gives it back. It's your stealth system. No fire means no smoke. No smoke means no detection. You're invisible to anyone tracking food sources by looking for cooking fires. It's your energy surplus creator. You're now banking calories instead of barely breaking even. That surplus is what lets you do everything else. Build shelter, gather water, defend position. One protocol, 4 survival advantages. The variety trap. But there's a problem with efficiency. Raw, wild foods and insects work. But let's be honest, after 2 weeks of the same flavors, your brain starts screaming for variety. Monotony creates psychological stress. Stress kills appetite. Poor appetite leads to undereating. Undereating leads to weakness. You need flavor, you need variation, you need the spice of survival. Strategy 4. The flavor leverage system. The psychological starvation. Most people don't starve from lack of food. They starve from lack of will to eat food that disgusts them. I've seen it happen. People with access to crickets who won't eat them. People surrounded by dandelion greens who'd rather go hungry. It's not physical starvation, it's psychological rejection. Your brain is hardwired for variety and flavor. Eating bland food day after day triggers appetite suppression. You start skipping meals. You start undereating even when food is available. Within 2 weeks, you're malnourished, not because food is scarce, but because you've lost the will to eat what's available. The seasoning fantasy. You stockpiled salt, pepper, maybe some garlic powder. That'll last you 6 months if you're careful. Then what? You think you'll be fine without seasoning. You won't. Food without flavor is punishment. You'll eat less. You'll waste calories because the mental resistance is too high. You plan to use wild onions and garlic. Great, except they're seasonal. They don't grow year-round. For 8 months of the year, you've got nothing. You figured taste doesn't matter in survival. That's what tough guy survivalists say right up until they're forcing down their 10th meal of unseasoned grasshoppers and vomiting from the psychological revolt. The answer? Wild flavor arsenal. The solution is building a renewable flavor system from wild, preserved, and cultivated seasonings that make anything edible. You need to know how to identify, harvest, and preserve 8 to 10 wild flavoring agents that grow in your region. Here's why this matters. Wild mustard seeds, wild onion bulbs, sumac berries, wild mint, pine needles for tea, rose hips for vitamin C, and flavor. These aren't rare. They're abundant, preservable, and they transform protein sources from barely tolerable to actually food. Salt can be harvested. If you're near the ocean, seawater evaporation gives you salt. If you're inland, certain plants concentrate salt in their tissues. You can burn them and use the ash as salt substitute. Fermentation creates flavor, sauerkraut, fermented greens, insect pastes. Fermentation is preservation plus flavor enhancement plus probiotic boost. One process, 3 benefits. The capability stack. Here's what a wild flavor arsenal does. It's your appetite maintenance system. Food that tastes good gets eaten. Food that gets eaten becomes energy. Energy becomes survival. The chain starts with flavor. It's your morale builder. Humans need more than calories. We need the experience of eating. Flavor creates that experience. Morale is a survival tool. It's your trade value enhancer. Preserved seasonings are lightweight, shelf-stable, and highly valued. A small jar of wild fermented mustard paste trades for more than you'd expect when everyone else is eating bland survival rations. It's your health protection. Many wild seasonings have antimicrobial, antioxidant, and medicinal properties. You're not just flavoring food, you're fortifying it. One system, 4 functions. But here's the thing, Whitty admits. You've got plants, you've got protein, you've got efficiency, you've got flavor. You can feed yourself indefinitely from the environment, and you can make it palatable. But there's one food source that beats all of this. One source that provides more calories per hour of effort than anything else on this list. And it's the one that makes every homesteading channel, every self-reliance influencer, every prepper guru go suspiciously quiet. because it's not politically correct. It's not Instagram friendly, but it's real. Strategy 5. The forbidden multiplier, the caloric reality. Here's the truth they won't say. The absolute highest calorie per effort food source in any urban or suburban environment isn't wild plants. It isn't insects. It isn't hunting or fishing or trapping. It's scavenging human food waste in animal feeding systems. Every city, every suburb, every town is full of dog food, cat food, bird seed, livestock feed. It's designed to be shelf-stable, calorically dense, and nutritionally complete. And when humans abandon areas, it's just sitting there. Tons of it. The objection: that's pet food. That's not for humans. Right. That's your civilized brain talking. That's the brain that had grocery stores and food safety regulations and choices. That brain is going to get you killed. Here's reality. Pet food in the US is held to FDA standards. Premium brands are more nutritionally complete than most human junk food. Dry dog food has protein, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals. It's literally designed to be complete nutrition. You can survive on it indefinitely. Birdseed is human food. It's sunflower seeds, millet, corn, and other grains. You're already eating these things, just in different packaging. Livestock feed is grain. Chicken scratch is corn and wheat. Rabbit pellets are alfalfa and grains. It's food. The only difference is the label. The honest strategy: I'm not saying eat pet food first. I'm saying when you're in week 3, when wild edibles aren't enough, when insects aren't covering your needs, when you find an abandoned home with 50 pounds of dog food in the garage, you take it. You don't die for pride. You don't starve because of a label. The multiplier functions. Here's what scavenging prepared animal feeds does. It's your caloric insurance. When everything else fails, this is the backup that keeps you alive. It's dense, it's complete, it's available. It's your minimal effort nutrition. No foraging, no processing, no cooking required. Open bag, eat. Maximum efficiency. It's your trade commodity. Other people will want it for their actual pets. You're sitting on barter gold. It's your transition food. It buys you time. Time to learn plant identification. Time to develop insect harvesting skills. Time to build sustainable systems. Survival isn't about purity. It's about living long. Enough to build something better. 1 resource. 4 capabilities. The truth about survival eating. And there it is. The 5 strategies. Wild edible literacy, insect protein, raw efficiency protocol, wild flavor systems, and the scavenging reality nobody wants to discuss. But here's what separates the living from the dead. The strategies are just frameworks. What matters is the willingness to actually do it, to eat the cricket, to chew the dandelion green, to open the dog food bag when you're starving, and pride is a luxury you can't afford. The real survival tool isn't knowledge. It's the absence of hesitation. It's the ability to adapt faster than your circumstances deteriorate. It's being able to look at the world as it is, not as you wish it was, and make the choice that keeps you breathing. So practice now. Go find dandelions and eat them. Catch a cricket and cook it. Taste dog food once so it's not a shock later. Train your mind to see food where others see nothing, because when it matters, you won't have time to overcome psychological barriers. You'll have what you've practiced and what you're willing to do. That's survival. The choice, not the knowledge. Stay hungry, stay adaptable, stay alive.